What's up, everyone? Wood here. And, just a few thoughts on today. Today's one of those days that, honestly kind of hits me the most. It being July 1st. Obviously, it's 2020, but, 104 years ago today, was the first battle of the Somme, the very first, like the very beginning. And, that's a battle that's always just kind of stuck out to me, man. I mean, 20,000 British lives, starting at about 7:30 in the morning, lost in 2 hours. So mainly around 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, those guys were all gone, man. I mean, 20,000 dudes. I mean, that's just absolutely insane. But, then the brass to actually continue the fight and send more troops in, after, losing 20,000 men, not believing reports coming from the front, just all sorts of just messed up stuff, man. And they just kept sending people in. And, at the end of today, it was something close to about 60,000, casualties at the end of one day. 60,000 casualties. That's the Battle of the Somme, and I know some people don't like it when you say, oh, what's your favorite, battle or whatever. But honestly, for World War I, I'd have to say the Battle of the Somme, like hands down, that is my favorite. That's like, probably the best battle, in my opinion. That was, just absolutely gruesome, just completely just messed up beyond all belief. But anyway, and today also, by the way, is the anniversary. I believe it's the 155th, 156th, something like that, 150-odd anniversary of Gettysburg, fought July 1st, 1863 to July 3rd, 1863. I'm doing this video now because the next few days I'll be on vacation in North Carolina, so I won't be really around. But, I got a couple of things, just to show you guys real quick. It's just, Gettysburg, man. I love that battle. I had ancestors that fought there. My wife did too. And, oddly enough, my wife's ancestors, as well as my own, believe it or not, were in the Vermont brigades, whether it be cavalry or infantry, but they were in both in Gettysburg. So it's just kind of odd, just talk about odd turn of events. But anyway, yeah, if you don't know what the Battle of the Somme is or the Battle of Gettysburg, my advice, definitely check it out. But anyway, so today, I just brought a couple things out. I'm not going to go crazy into like explanation in depth or whatever. But this is what I got for like World War I history, as well as some of my stuff for World War II, or Civil War. So first obviously will be the Iron Brigade hat. It was worn by the also known as the Black Hat Boys. Excuse the rust on the musket. It's been a little while. It's been in my closet all winter. I got to get her cleaned up, get her ready to go. But it's 1861 Springfield rifle musket. And obviously your standard forge cap. During the Civil War, a lot of these. This is actually a McDowell brim. These were kind of out of style by 63 into 64. You didn't see these anymore really on troops in the battlefield. But I love the McDowell brim on a forge cap. I just think that's the best look ever. So yeah, that's my Civil War stuff. Now, I'm sure, you just saw my World War I stuff. And so here, check this shit out. You'll like this. So this is my P08 British cap. It was your standard cap for the British Army at the beginning of World War I. The British Army wore these till, some units wore them till 1918, to the very end of the war. But a lot of units end up going with what's called a trench cap, which is basically just a floppy version of this cap. And as you can tell, it's stiff. These are also known as a stiff peaked cap. The next hat that I have, and also, by the way, the emblem right there is actually the Royal Fusiliers, the City of London Battalion. They are my absolute favorite battalion in World War I. They're also my favorite unit of World War I. So next in line, we got the Australian slouch cap. This is your Australian light horse hat. It's an authentic Gallipoli version, Gallipoli Remembrance version. Worn by the 3rd Australian Light Horse, which happened to be at the Battle of the Neck at the time during Gallipoli. And if you don't know what the Battle of the Neck was, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Just absolutely incredible battle, you know, or one of the battles that happened during the Battle of Gallipoli overall. Just absolutely insane. You know, would definitely, you know, recommend checking it out if you don't know anything about it. Underneath that, the rifle, this is a British Lee Enfield SMLE. It's actually a 1915, and it's a legitimate British Lee Enfield from World War I. The gentleman I got this rifle off of actually bought it off the veterans, so I know for a fact that it's seen some incredible things, you know, and I wish that, you know, these weapons could talk, man, because I'm sure, you know, this weapon could tell you a story. You know, it's a 1915 Lee Enfield, which tells me that, you know, it's an early war Lee Enfield. It still has the magazine cut off, you know, which basically was implemented as a way to basically get British soldiers to slow down their rate of fire, you know, and load one round individually. But a lot of guys actually had their unit armors remove the magazine cut off and, you know, allowed access to a 10-round box magazine, you know, obviously for, you know, quick rapid fires and whatnot if Germans were coming through no man's land. So the next thing here is actually a 1919 British Webley revolver. You know, the Webley, obviously everybody knows it from, you know, officers during World War I, but enlisted guys had them too. If they had a chance to grab one or pick one up, they would definitely take it. But this is actually a 1919 Webley revolver. It did not see World War I, but obviously I have it out here with me because, you know, it was fairly popular during World War I. But this Webley specifically saw action in World War II. I mean, that's how long it was in service in the Canadian Army. You know, absolutely just incredible. You know, I love this pistol. I've fired it a few times. I've actually used it as my carry piece a couple of times as well. You know, absolutely incredible pistol. You know, it has a 6-round, you know, cylinder, you know, and shoots rimmed cartridges as opposed to your regular, you know, brass casing cartridge, which is pretty cool. Just absolutely incredible. You know, I love that pistol. And obviously, last but not least, you know, we have to go with the German stuff. You know, so this is actually a Pickelhaube helmet. These were worn by the German army in 1914 to 1918, although most units by 1918 switched over to what is commonly known today as the Stahlhelm, or if you're a World War II history buff like me as well, you know, the Stahlhelm, everybody knows that the Germans wore it. You know, it's that iconic German helmet that everybody knows. But yeah, the Pickelhaube mainly was meant for, you know, ceremonial purposes. You know, I apologize because, you know, again, you know, it's been in my house for a while. You know, absolutely, it's a little dirty. I could definitely clean it up. But, you know, this specific Pickelhaube is a reproduction. It's not a legitimate original. All my hats here are not originals whatsoever. And, you know, this specific Pickelhaube is actually a cavalry Pickelhaube. And more specifically, it's a officer Pickelhaube because it has the gold-plated Prussian eagle on the front, whereas enlisted guys had silver eagles and silver, you know, points at the top of their helmet. Also, you know, if you see guys with, you know, like, you know, spheres on top of the helmets, that means that they are artillery guys. You know, the infantry and the artillery and the cavalry, you know, all had different types of tops on their Pickelhaubes. So obviously you can tell it's got a slanted back here. You know, this is for in case if an infantry soldier goes and fights, you know, a cavalryman, or a cavalryman goes to fight a cavalryman, and a cavalry guy tries to, you know, cut your head off, you know, it'll actually blunt the backside of the or excuse me, the sword will actually glance off the backside, or at least that's the theory of the helmet. You know, so that way the blade will slide right off, that way protecting your neck. The rifle in the back, if you're curious about the rifle, I'll tell you about it. It is a 1915 Gewehr 98 bolt-action rifle. It has a 5-round internal magazine. I like shooting it, although honestly I like shooting the Lee Enfield better. Obviously more rounds, but not only that, you know, I just, you know, when you retract the bolt on the Gewehr, it's very boxy feeling. So anyway, that's my video. Hope you liked it, and I'll talk to you later.